You do the prayer, does it?
Sure.
Good morning. We'll start with our flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dave?
Heavenly Father, we come here today asking you to watch over this meeting and watch over our county workers as they go about their jobs this week. And we want to thank you for the nice weather we've had and for the success of our county fair that's been going on for the last week. And all these things we do in Jesus' name. Amen.
I reviewed the email or the minutes and the email. Make a motion to approve.
Second. Been moved and second. We approved the minutes from last week. All in favor? Aye.
All right, I've got a couple things for you. Catch up here. We have included in the claims this week was the River City payment number 11 that I think we brought it up last week and looked at it, but we need to get approval for that.
Okay. What was that amount, David?
It is $947,953.27.
And that's my motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
And then we have the claims. Like I say, that amount is included in the claims. The total is $1,296,537.20.
And that's my motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. I have the park report for July.
Picnics tonight.
Mhm. So for the month of July, and then I'll read the year to end. Looks like the receipts were 21,000 or $30,420.75, and the expenditures were $29,418.84 for the year to date. Receipts $153,138.32. Expenditures $165,512.70. All right, a little bit.
And then I also
Down
have
like 100,000 before.
Sheriff sent his report by email a little bit ago. He has 13 prisoners in-house and 1 farmed out. And do you want to go through all the numbers on it? Or?
No.
Okay. After that, we've got the budget hearing scheduled for 11 o'clock, so we'll need to start it at that time. And then CDBG closeout hearing at 10:30, and I think Jessica's got somebody from the SEK Planning Commission coming in for that.
Okay. Doug, good morning. I'll get you in just a second, Warren.
Our fire calls, I gave you a report, 299 calls for service year to date. This past week, we had 3 motor vehicle accidents, 1 grass fire, 2 medical assists, 2 landing zones, and 1 other call. I also dropped at your table an application for Madison Schreckheis. She's the daughter of Jack Schreckheis, who's a member of Station 920 there in Pleasanton. We would like to bring her on as a probationary firefighter, pending her passing a physical and drug screen and standard process that we use.
That's my motion to hire her on that basis. Madison Schreckheis.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
And Pleasant has 12 on its roster right now, so
Okay.
she would make 13. That's all I have for you, unless you have anything for me this morning.
Do you?
I don't don't think so.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Warren, before I forget you, man.
Doug, do you want these back? Does this have any numbers or anything on it?
Hand it back to me.
That's good to see someone young getting in there.
Yep.
Good morning.
Morning.
You look like you got some bad news or something.
I forgot all about this meeting. Honestly, I looked out my window. I'm like, oh crap. No, it's been a busy morning since about 6 o'clock. So,
How's everything going?
pretty good. Roof work is ongoing, above the jail cell area. They should wrap up, with all their TPO roof, this week. They'll should be immediately falling back, putting on the 9 skylights. Steel erectors, showed back up today. They are going to be resuming, steel erection work. Our load bearing block masonry, should wrap up this week. They're working on the Sally Port right now. And, we have 2 big slab on grade pours this week with Marbury. One tomorrow morning starting at 4 a.m. and one tomorrow morning or Wednesday morning starting at 4 a.m. So there'll be light plants set up so they can see. Very early start, and a lot of above ceiling rough ends are starting. Our sprinkler fitter, Conley Sprinkler out of Pleasanton, they started today. Duct work is being delivered to the site. A lot of stuff's going on.
Yeah.
Update on our superintendent. His wife, I had no idea, but he had been up in Kansas City this whole time taking care of himself, and apparently it's not working. His wife had to go pick him up last Thursday, brought him home to St. James, Missouri. He's staving off pneumonia right now. He's going on 3 weeks of being pretty ill. So it's, I don't expect him back this week, and honestly, I don't really expect him back next week.
Sure.
Hopefully he can recover. So.
Any questions?
Do you need anything from us?
Not at this time. Plan on submitting a PCO on the concrete pavements this week. Pretty much superintendent about 90% of the time, and a project manager about 10% of the time here last 3 weeks. Been nuts. But I plan on getting that out the door this week, and that's it for now.
All right, good. Well, hopefully everything goes good on that road.
Yeah.
You got something?
Tell Bill we
I
can
don't
get
know.
out.
You say on the concrete you're going to?
They're going to be doing this, we'll call it the south third, 4-inch concrete this week, and as well as the north third. They're leaving out that center section. As soon as a crane gets in there, can set everything that he has to reach, set bundles of deck. They'll pull the crane out, and I suspect Marbury pouring the rest of it next week.
Did we ever get a cost of the concrete for around the building here versus the asphalt?
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm going to work that up this week. We got that. The only price increase that happened with that, they do have bond costs. Any changes to their contract, stuff like that, they got to put in a bond or a bond percentage. His price stayed the same with exception of a bond markup. It's like $2,000 or something. So there was no dramatic increases for what we were talking about before. What we shared with you guys, I think it was a couple weeks ago. So.
Okay.
Everything else should be the same. They
So
did
those
have,
numbers will be in the PCO you put.
yes. It'll be essentially the ad for the concrete. That will now include bond costs, the sealant, joint sealant work at like a 15-foot grid pattern. Yeah, we'll plug in an allowance for testing. There's going to be more testing with concrete than asphalt. And then a deduct for the original asphalt base work.
Sounds like everything's going pretty good. I haven't had any negative comments. Everybody's, it sounds like it's going smooth. Everybody's happy. And do you think you should reach out to Mound City and let them know we're starting out early just to, and they're not going to go to their neighbors and knock on the doors and tell them, but
Who should I reach out to? Maybe
I don't know.
John?
Should we let the city know? Do you guys think, Dave? Oh, if he's a neighbor, tell him.
About what?
They're getting a 4:00 a.m. pour tomorrow.
And Wednesday.
Just call City Hall, or I can do it. I'll just call City Hall and tell them that Tuesday and Wednesday, you're gonna start at 4 o'clock, so they'll know. It's no big deal, I don't think.
Courtesy more of anything.
But that way, if somebody calls in and
I'll call
tries
City
to,
Hall, be calling your office.
Yeah. There's be a city work.
Oh, okay.
But he does live right next door, so he.
I'll call them.
Be sure and be the loudest vehicle you got.
Yeah,
Get in
breakfast
that way.
ready for him.
Do you foresee any big issues that's in the radar? I mean, do you see anything coming up that's going to be potentially being a problem that we need to address?
We're on a good roll here, and you're gonna try to mess this parade up.
My day's always bad. So we just,
Like this.
Honestly, no. I'm sort of a pessimist when it comes to construction. I foresee if we don't get too far along on our site concrete, winter will be here. And we'll be dealing with site concrete the 11th hour in the spring, February, spring. But if we have a mild winter, I see no problems.
so,
That's the only thing I could possibly see us derailing this fine running train we got.
Fine running trade that you're operating. Yeah.
Now, there's things pop up daily, but that's normal. But
it sounds like everything's going good. So
Thanks, man.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
no problem.
Hey, Mar?
Good morning, Galen Anderson with AMR. I'm going to pass out the detailed report for the month of July. So to review the data for July, we had 10 calls, 5 transports out of Blue Mound, 1 call, 1 transport that fell into the Fontana category, 34 calls for service and 25 transport out of Lacine, 11 requests, 8 transports out of Linn Valley, 27 requests and 10 transport out of Mound City. 1 request out of Parker, no transports, 21 requests and 14 transports out of Pleasanton. And out of Prescott, we had 3 requests, 1 transport, for a total of 109 requests for service and 65 transports for the month. In District 1, we had 37 total transports with an average response time of 12 minutes, 51 seconds. In District 2, we had 19 transports with the average response time of 10 minutes, 58 seconds. And then District 3, 9 transports with the average response time of 16 minutes, 56 seconds. And our total average response time for all the calls in the county in July was 13 minutes, 11 seconds. A little bit further down, we were a few hours over on planned ambulance in-service hours, so we were staffed 100.3%. And then it was a pretty busy month for patients being flown out. There was 7 patients flown out by helicopter. 2 fell into a stroke or neurological emergency category. 2 fell into a cardiac category, like heart attacks. And 3 were significant traumas. And those 7 flights out were handled by a combination of the helicopters out of Chanute, Harrisonville, and Overland Park. So that's it for July. Any questions about that data?
None.
All right. So far, month to date for August, we're at, in the past 7 days, we've done 14 transports and 32 transports for the month. Sometime in the next month, we should be seeing our supervisor vehicle, the SUV, come into play. So that'll be great. We've waited long enough for that. And I think I let you know at a past meeting that we have 1 supervisor that'll be transferring to AMR in Tucson to be closer to family members. And we're collecting applications, doing interviews for that position, and we have at least one candidate that we're excited about. So I don't think we'll have a problem filling that. And can't think of anything else. Anything from Allen County. I know you had asked about it in the past. They were set to make a decision on Tuesday, and then they moved it back 1 week. So which will be tomorrow. So we should know tomorrow if that's a service that's going to go to AMR or stay with the city of Iola. So we'll know that then. I think that's all.
You got anything?
I don't.
I don't have anything, thank you.
I think, I do think we do have something later on. Sean West should be presenting a bid for the building in Lacey.
Oh, excellent.
So we'll see how that works out. From what I understand, he's pretty close to got the offer in, and he had to clear up some stuff, and I think he got it cleared up. And Gary, you can look at the contract or the write-up with the
With
ladies.
yeah, I reviewed all that.
Okay. So I'm not saying you have to stay, but if you're interested, we'll talk about that in a little while.
Okay,
All right,
excellent. Thank you.
thanks.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Oh,
Tisha Coleman, Linn County Health Department. COVID update, we are up 57 cases since last week. So we're at 1,065. Active is 85 cases, 7 are in the hospital, 14 deaths, and now 4 clusters. So we've gone up 2 clusters. We've tested 206 to date, and we've starting to regain shipment again of our Cepheid testing supplies, so that we are ready and amping up for the fall. We have given 1,292 prime COVID vaccinations, 1,283 boost, and then Johnson & Johnson is 112. KDHE, or the CDC and ACIP did come out last week with immunocompromised can get a third boost dose. And there's an attached, what's called the Kansas HON from Kansas Department of Health and Environment that says who qualifies as an immunocompromised person. There's some of the things are active treatment for solid tumor, hematological malignancies, organ transplant, or immunosuppressive therapy, stem cell transplants, moderate or severe primary immunodeficiency, advanced or untreated HIV infections, and then active treatments with high-dose corticosteroids and a lot of other things down there.
Now, for those individuals that may qualify for the booster, are you guys notifying them?
No, they can reach out to us. I mean, we're not necessarily know who would.
You wouldn't know that by looking at their medical thing when they sign a piece of paper? I'm just saying, a lot of these people probably won't even know, and you'll have other people showing up thinking that they can get a booster.
So we've given close to 3,000 doses, and I don't know that we would know all of those people,
Okay.
if you will. You know what I mean?
So they should probably call
So
you.
if they have questions, call us. Absolutely.
What
Yes.
did you say? I missed the numbers. Can you say it one more time?
1,065 total cases, so up 57 since last week. 85 active, 7 hospital, 14 deaths, and 4 clusters, so 2 new clusters. So yeah, just give us a call and we can review with them, or you know what I mean. And those people who are immunocompromised know that they're for the most part know that they're immunocompromised, and have probably been in contact either with their physician or their specialist in regards to them telling
I
them
got you.
to get vaccinated.
So will that get reported back to you if they get a booster from their physician?
It'll be in the WebIZ system.
Okay.
I mean, we won't know it necessarily
You don't
unless we go to look for it or something, but yeah, I mean, so. We're still doing our walk-in COVID vaccination clinics on Wednesdays from 8:30 to 2 or by appointment. Last week, we had 3 days where we gave vaccines. The vaccine percentage information's online. Masks, of course, we recommend. We did meet with our school nurses the week before. And we've been in contact with them. There is a test to play and a test to learn option where it's kind of a modified quarantine situation where if someone gets exposed at school, then they have the option of either quarantining at home, or they can do what's called a modified quarantine where they can come to school. They'll have to wear a mask every day while they're in that quarantine period. And then there's also a test that has to be done, and they have to do negative tests
Every day?
to be able to be at school. Yes. And so I'm talking to you about that because right now we have very limited antigen tests. Those are $7.50 a test per test. That's the mechanism or the testing platform that they recommend for these kids. And so we haven't been using those because we have been using our other machine because we have ample supply of those. And they're more for surveillance, not diagnostic, the rapid antigen test. So my question to you is, I'm requesting to purchase 600 tests at $7.50 each, which would be $4,500 for the
Are they
purpose.
for the school though, mainly?
So it would be covered through our grants, through our expanded testing grant, where I have said we would support and help those schools
Okay.
so that we can keep kids in school and learning.
Sure.
Now, will you come to the school, or do those kids have to come to you to be tested, David?
So we've talked to the schools that if they don't have the staff to do it, that we would be willing to go out to there to
Every day?
assist them. Mhm.
Like 6 schools, right?
Well, you have to understand it's for quarantined kids. So how many of those kids are actually going to be quarantined? And if they want to participate in that.
in theory, it could be one kid at all 6 schools, but
Right. It could be a lot, it could be a little.
Okay.
Yeah. And the test, in learning about the test, it's a very simple, if you will, test. It doesn't go all the way back into the back of the nasopharyngeal. It's a nasal swab in both sides of the nose. And I believe that kids could possibly do that themselves. So it would just mostly be an observation type thing. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. And it's a 15-minute test. Now, there's false positives, false negatives. That's why if they get a positive, then we would reflex over to the PCR, and then we would need to do the test, a PCR test, which we could do at the health department
But
to
they can stay
confirm
at
that,
school with the mask on in
if they're negative.
theory
Yes,
until that test is
without
done.
symptoms.
Yeah, without symptoms.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's my question is, can I purchase, because it's over the $1,000 limit, can I spend $4,500 on 600 tests?
And it's money you already get for your grant, and it's available you have that money available.
Once I spend it, I would get it back, yes, through the grant.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, how did you come up with 600 though?
We just picked a number,
Can't-
just to start
Yeah,
out.
It seems awful
I'm-
high.
Well, it's to start out. It's so that we have enough for a while, because right now there's quite a resurgence, and so we would rather have
Can we
plenty of tests
Can
than
we
not.
consider, you really think you're going
if
to
you
do
do it daily for 10 days, there's,
One kid would be 10 tests.
I
one
got
kid
you.
would be 10
I-
tests, so that'd be enough for 60 kids.
All
If
right.
you took that.
Makes sense. Thanks.
And plus, they're going back to allocation.
I asked her how she came up with it, and she said, I just thought of a number.
Well, I talked.
Makes more sense.
We talked about it at the health
Talk to
department.
Gary next time. Put it in Rick terms.
Well, and testing supplies are going to be limited again, and so we want to make sure and have plenty. And they'll have a pretty good expiration on them.
Okay. Otherwise, if
school
they don't have if we don't have the test available, what happens to the students?
They get to stay home,
Okay. That's what we don't want,
right?
I wouldn't think.
Is there any grant money out there that's kind of determined on how many people we vaccinate and test and anything like that?
That we get.
Yeah, that we get if we hit a certain amount of numbers or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge.
So you want a motion on that purchase probably, so.
I'm just trying to figure out where you're.
I was just wondering. I've had a few people reach out to me, and about going and getting tested at CHC, and I assured them we do it, and they always just say, well, we didn't know you guys did it. I just think, if there was, a number we could hit, but, to get a lot of this stuff. But you said this is already grant money anyway, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should we get like a banner or something that says we do COVID vaccine shots? I mean, is that a way to advertise, put it out front? I mean, because how much does CHC charge? $25 or something?
I really don't know.
Stand at the end of the stop sign down there.
Well, I've thought about a billboard or something like that even. I mean, I know, because we have funding available to use for advertising.
I would really like to see something like that where, because people, I had 2 people come to me this weekend and talk to me about the CHC thing. I'm like, well, we do it at the health department. I'm like, we didn't even know you guys did it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Pharmacies do it.
Everybody does it. Doc-
There's a lot of people that are good at CHC before they're good at the health department, being right there and.
Sorry, I'm making a note. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Hold on, we got.
Oh, sorry.
Figure out this. You got anything on this purchase? All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of 600. What are they called? Tests?
Rapid COVID antigen tests.
That right there. That's my motion.
I'll second.
At the cost of.
$750 each, total of $4,500.
That's my motion. Seconded. All in favor? Aye.
I guess where I was going with that is if we got, if we get a lot more people there, did we get more
Do we get more money?
Is what I was going with. Did I answer your question?
No, I knew what you was going for. I just didn't know why. I still don't know.
I don't know if they could, I don't know
Why?
if the state gives us
The
incentives.
benefit is a healthier community.
Well, right, but not everybody cares about that. But I was wondering, if we.
Yeah, I've been told that. I've been told that.
I don't know if we advertise if there was a certain number we'd hit, we'd get more grant money to put towards something. That's where I was going with.
Okay, well, let's talk about more grant money.
Before you do that, has our percentage raised of vaccinated people?
I think a little bit, maybe
Not
1 or
much,
2%.
right? We're still in the 20s, or what are we in?
31 something, I think, for fully vaccinated, last I looked.
Email.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so talking about grant money, there are 2 grants that I can apply for that are due today that will increase vaccine access and vaccine equity in Linn County. They've done it by population, and so these grants are there's 2 of them. There's 3-year grants. They're 3-year grants that have to go to increasing vaccine access, increasing vaccine equity. And so it's kind of going above and beyond what we're already doing. Like some of the things that we have done, like going into the school, schools would, qualify for that as far as going into the school system, like outreach, mobile clinics type thing.
What will you do with it if you?
That's what we would do with it.
You would what?
Events, vaccines and testing, vaccines at community events, vaccines at going into the schools, which we've already do, but we could get reimbursed for that.
Okay. We not
Like
get reimbursed
communities.
for that now?
We had not
Okay.
previously because our IAP grant was like $4,200 a year
Okay.
pre-COVID. So anyways, so one of them is $63,000 for over a 3-year period, and the other one is $110,000 over a 3-year period.
So is any of that grant, any of those 2 grants that you're talking about cross over with the grants you already received? In other words, you're getting money for the same thing twice?
No. Because our critical infrastructure is what we've used some of our vaccination clinic type stuff, and then our, the grant, the Patterson Foundation, Family Foundation grant for vaccine access, but there's not been a specific vaccination grant.
Sure.
So, for instance, the position that we're hiring, that I'm going to set up interviews for next week for our nurse, he will have, our contract reads until November of 2022 because that's when that funding runs out. This potentially then we could utilize this funding for a large percentage of that salary to then now go to June of 2024.
Okay.
So,
Got questions about that? Either one?
I don't.
and what my plan was is to go ahead and just divide each one of those out by 3 for 3 years. And, cause you have to, it's a yearly application, if you will, but it's a 3-year grant. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
You have to pay it. Is it?
we only get it if we spend it.
Okay. Okay.
You can use both of them for the same thing, then, is what you're saying.
One is vaccine access, one is vaccine equity. Theoretically, they're very similar.
And you think it's beneficial?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to help. I mean, we'll go out into the community to vaccinate people. Try to reach those populations that might not be able to come to the health department or might not have it right now. And plus, we're looking at boosters. So, here we go again with lots of vaccinations possibly.
Jim's looking forward to it.
Do we try, like, so say that they can't, like an individual that can't make it out there to the health department, do
We
we
will go.
travel and give them a vaccine?
Yes, we will go to their house. I've gone to many people's houses.
You're that lazy? Don't drive there?
Well, some people don't have transportation.
I'm just messing with you. He's
Yeah,
having a
I know.
bad morning. I'm just rubbing it in.
I know. Oh, and
So you
yeah.
need a motion to authorize her to
Yeah.
apply for these grants.
Yeah. Name them again. I'm going to make the motion. You read it.
It's a I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's
We probably need to know.
to increase vaccine access and equity. There's 2 grants,
Okay, 2 grants, and what's the total value of them?
$173,000
$173,000 to approve for those grants that she just mentioned.
to apply for them.
That's my motion.
One second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Okay. June and July reports I will be getting to you next week. It's just, we've been very crazy busy, so. Anything
I got a
else from
question
you?
for you. Is it, we're here, we got the CDBG closeout hearing, David. Which was, that was the grant that took care of the health department, right?
No, that was
This is
Spark.
Grants that Jessica's been working with.
Oh. What was the grant that,
Spark.
oh, Spark, okay, I get them all confused. Is there any regulations on, because we're having, or Sean, are we having somebody get numbers to see what it's gonna cost to revamp the back of that and make it into a Meals on Wheels place? Right?
We were, but I haven't heard any. We got to talk to
Right.
Sean. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know, does anybody know if there, I mean, can we utilize it for that? Is there grant, I mean, is there rules that say, hey, this is for,
Do you know? if There's any?
I don't know, but that question came up in my mind too, whether the purpose for which that was constructed was broad enough to allow us to use it for that purpose
Okay.
as well. And
We better do some
we need to do
research.
some research on it.
Okay. We went around in circles and then we figured out it was Gary's problem.
The best solution. Give it to Gary.
Yeah. You got anything else?
I don't.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
guys got anything? All right.
Have a good day.
Doug, are you back again? All right, good. Thank you. So now we need Sean. You need executive session for anything today?
No, I don't.
I don't either. Do you?
I think so.
I heard somebody's call come. I think Jesse went to get it.
Sean West, Public Works Administrator.
Gary, come back and find out this.
The list I gave you was something that you've probably seen in the past on some questions on how much ditch maintenance, our boom mowing, brush hogging we're doing, it answers those questions more intelligently than I would be able to pull it, out of the air. Although this is for last month, if you want them printed out weekly, to answer those questions, we can do that. Or I can continue to have Joyce print those out monthly so that you'll have a list of those tasks and how many man hours we're putting towards those. The
Is the labor cost based on what we're actually paying? Or is this based on what the state would pay? Or I know the equipment hours are based on a state rate, right? Or something like that.
I believe so. And I'd have to ask on the other cost
Okay.
on the labor.
I think once a month's enough, don't you?
Okay. The next is the Lacing Senior Center bids. We spoke about those last week.
Before we do that, I want to ask Gary. Gary, when you read the contract with the ladies how's that going to work out?
I think we'll be able to work it out. I mean, basically it says that they'll keep a person registered with the county clerk as their contact person. And David said he hadn't heard from anybody in years. So
Well, I honestly don't think there's really maybe
Yeah.
one person left.
I think we will attempt to find a contact person to give them notice. If we can't, maybe we'll publish a little notice,
Okay.
but I think
And then there's probably some memorabilia that people will want to get.
Give 'em-
That's fine.
give them an opportunity to apply to come in and pick up whatever's there that they want.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Sean.
You'd asked last week whether the numbers I gave you was turnkey. I got with the contractor. He's willing to accept. The only issue that we didn't have was the heater.
It was like $700 or something.
$650 or so, $700. He's willing to accept that, but we did run into an issue that the trusses, the bid on the trusses, were going to expire. I asked him to contact that supplier and ask for an extension on those. And it
Even if that was the case, it shouldn't be that much more.
shouldn't be that much more. So what I would suggest is that if we do approve that bid, that we approve that bid with another $500 for cost increases if they do go up. And the building, to answer your question, would be turnkey. The only labor or cost we would incur would be the painting of the interior walls while they're doing the shop. We agreed to do the interior wall paint to keep his crews working and completing the project, that we would do the walls after they
So
were
you got Danny
sheetrocked.
or somebody going to paint?
Yes, after they were sheetrocked and mudded, that we would take on that project on the interior.
I would think that's pretty small.
Interior of the garage or everything, or?
The interior of the building, the walls that would separate the bedrooms, and the laundry, and then the bathroom remodel.
You got any legal concerns about that? What about the lot size itself? Do we need to get a permit?
Well, it's in the city of Pleasanton, isn't it?
No, Lacey.
I mean Lacey.
Yeah.
So we'll have to get a building permit, and I assume that they'll require, are we adding a garage?
We're adding a
right?
garage.
So we'll have
Detached garage.
we'll have to get a building permit, and I don't know what their regulations require in terms of.
Have we
lot
talked to
size.
the city at all?
I have not talked to the city, but looking at our building permits being similar to theirs, I don't perceive any issues with
I'll talk to
getting
Jody too.
Even if
building
You do your
permits.
Part with,
even if we're within the setback, they can, if they wish, give us a variance, so.
So are we requiring lien waivers and stuff like that for so I know he has it broken up, per, stored material and so forth and so on. I mean, before we hand him a check, do we have anything in our handbook, David, or anything like that about him providing us with lien waivers, letting us know that he has his vendors paid off before we give him a check?
We have nothing in the handbook that requires it. Typically, what we do is when the bid has been approved and it's broken out in detail, I get the information and then I write a contract and I would include that in that contract.
And the retainer and all that?
We usually do a 5% retainage. That's all the state law really will allow on this kind of project. We usually do a 5% retainage for a period of time until the project is completed and accepted. And then we ask for lien waivers at the end of the project.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Yeah, any questions?
I don't have any.
So. And you had some problems up there this week at the old ambulance farm,
The
another problem?
AMR building, we had to call personnel out for the heat and air unit there. Apparently, it was not working properly and had,
Yeah, I, if you haven't taken a tour there, you won't realize how bad it is, but it's not a very good living quarters.
Can we get somebody to give us a bid or something to do like preventive maintenance, like once a month or something, to change filters? I mean, does Danny and Rick, do they do
They're
that?
supposed to be doing.
I mean,
they're changing filters, but I think the biggest issue is we need to look at a bid for quarterly cleaning and maintenance on those equipments, because the Pleasanton and this weekend on the Lacine issue is not necessarily filter, small maintenance. It's the quarterly unit cleaning. So the coils on both those units were
So, do you think
dirty, and
should he have to go out for a newspaper for that or no?
probably, I would think, with the vendors that we have available.
We got.
How would we do it? Just you give them a list of all the HVAC units throughout the county and all the buildings, and they just go like.
You'd have to write the specs up in the buildings and what you want inspected.
We'd have to
I
list,
think it'll be pretty costly.
we'd have to list all the heat and air units in each one of the buildings, and then list, if we were going to do the filters.
That's why we
would
hired
list
those
that.
two guys over there. I mean, Danny and them, that's part of their duties.
That is part of the maintenance duties, but I don't believe that and that's something that we can talk about later, but I don't believe there's some of the tasks that we're being able to keep up with as far as the quarterly maintenance and other things because of the small tasks that come in daily.
Jesse, because you're in that industry, what do people typically do? I mean, do they have like big time, say big company, how often should those units be checked?
I didn't even hear what you're talking about. I just came in.
Just like the,
Talking about service, what you're talking about here.
just doing preventative maintenance on them.
Yeah, you're talking about a heating and cooling system that you're asking your maintenance guys to provide a service on that might be outside of their expertise. And what he's saying is if you hire a company and that preventative maintenance that a specialist can come in and look at, probably would be worth the dollars to take a good look.
How much do you think something like that would run?
Well, I don't know, you sell it to personal maintenance, like if I came to your house and said, hey, I want to sell you personal maintenance, $75 service call, give you a discount, knowing that I can pre-schedule you and it's not a call on fly, but you ought to be able to get a discount. But that's where Sean will come in and talk a little bit. I don't think it's a bad idea if you're gonna, if you're just investing in your equipment and you're not expecting your maintenance guys to try to do something that's gonna, if they tell you guys, or they tell you, this is outside of your area, then you shouldn't force them.
I think what I'd like to see is just a list, we ask them to give us like a maintenance price, and then, and then they give us an inspection report, and if there's stuff on there that Danny and Rick do, then that's what they do. Anything more specialized, we have them do it. I don't know, I think there's a way, I think it's pretty important.
That's a great idea. You're asking your guys, what do you feel competent to handle?
Yeah.
And then let the other guys come in and do it. Sure.
I think that's,
Depending on the price of the person, it's called preventative maintenance.
from what I've ran into with the buildings I own, it's just, I wish I would have done it a long time ago. I've had to replace a few different units because I didn't keep up the, maintenance on it. So I'd like to at least get prices and see what vendor would charge to do something like that. I don't even know how it'd probably take a minute to figure out locations and everything like that of Maybe do it per building, I don't know.
Running,
I-
I'd say with everything we got.
I believe the new building may already have an agreement or is going to have an agreement in place for that. But as far as the others, I could generate a list and look at pricing and come up with something. But I do know that it has been an issue in the past, and it's an issue that here
Well, I think
recently
like-
has cost us a couple service calls.
The elderly place in Pleasanton, I think it could have been prevented. There's 4 units there, and I think that just preventive maintenance would have maybe helped with that. So,
Why don't you do that? Why don't you just put the list together of all the things that, and have them help you out of things that prevent maintenance, and we'll get a list, but I believe it'll be very expensive. And do it like a 1-year contract.
I'll look at the
Then we
units
can
and
advertise it and let all the vendors around that want to bid on it. If we decide that that's something we want to do.
I just, I don't think it'd be that, I mean, we asked them to just go around and look at each unit, not do anything specifically, just give us a report of that unit. And then we go to Danny and Rick and say, hey, this is what we need you guys to do. And anything they can't do, we ask the vendor, whoever bid it, to say, hey, can you give us a price to fix those, or, or a unit price to do that? I just, it'd be more or less just having somebody go around and look at all the units. And we're gonna keep spending $3,000-4,000 on condensing units if we keep going the way we're going, in my opinion.
But you don't want them just to go look at them. You want them to go service them every so often, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I'd rather know, because I think that Rick and them they can go out and take a garden hose to the condenser outside and clean off the coil on the outside. I mean, we can do all that stuff. I'd rather just have somebody come in there and give us an inspection, say, hey, this is this is our findings of this, and this is, what we think we need to do. And if Danny and them can do it, they do it. If not, then we hire them to do that specific item on that list. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay. Get with Danny and get the list together, and then we'll put it out, and we'll get numbers back.
okay. I also have I also have 2 bids on the Blue Mound project as well. One from the same company as Lacine and the other from another company, or contractor.
Blue Mound project.
The Blue Mound is our compactor.
Oh, compactor, you said.
Are we rebuilding the whole thing? Is that what we're doing?
We're re-siding, sheeting, and insulating and roofing that building.
The one in Lacine came out really good. The individual there was happy, and you can
I
breathe.
thought we already worked on that.
I'd spoke to you and you'd asked me to go back and put it out to bid
Oh,
on.
that's right, we did, yeah. Okay, okay, I knew you did that.
So I've got both those, and these bids, because of the contract material prices, are only good for a short period of time.
Well, let's see if we can approve them. We put them out for bid.
Before you get too far, are you gonna approve the one on the Lacine building, or?
That's what we're gonna look at. I wanna see his number. See how scary he is.
That's both inside and the.
Did you total it for us?
He's the only
Yes.
one he's the only one that.
We're at.
I have the total, it's not on there.
Well, scare us.
If we added the 5, that's before adding
Are you gonna give him the 5 or just the 5 if he needs it?
No, that, I'm asking you to.
Price increase?
That much, depending on price increases.
Okay.
So you're approving the bid at the bid price and authorizing $500 contingency funds to Sean's control.
Now, what'd you say there were 2 of them, because why?
One's the internal, structural
the-
wall, or the walls, the bedrooms,
One's a
and
new
the
building.
others.
Oh, I thought we were talking, I thought this was the compactor. What was that?
I'm sorry?
For the compactor.
Well,
The
we
compactor is-
From that to the
I was like, what the
compactor,
hell?
and then we're jumping back to this to
Okay.
see if we can get this done.
Fine, I didn't get no sleep last night. You gotta slow down. All right, yeah.
You all right with that?
I'll make a motion.
Hold on. You got any issues about it? I mean, what money would this come out of? Funds would this come out of, David? My paycheck?
Take a long time.
You get a ramp, about all you get.
Put 100,000 into the budget, right?
Yeah, I had put some into, let me find the right spot here. Special building, actually, we only had about 20,000 of it in this year, and I had about 80 in next year, but we'll be fine. That's within the general fund, so we could use it this year if we need to. And so we
Okay.
got 100 built into that.
Okay. Go ahead and make your motion.
It's, uh,
Yeah. I don't know what I did with it. There it is. Where's that one piece of paper you had for the total? Here's the total. You're making a motion for that with a $500 exception for building material if needed.
All right, I'll make a motion that we enter into a contract with Rockin' H Construction to build onto the community center in Lacine to make it the AMR building. We're adding a garage and then redoing the inside, correct? Just remodeling the inside.
Right.
Since there's two bids, I need to make two different motions for each one.
No, you just one.
Okay, okay, I got it. So, with that, I'll make a motion that we accept his price for everything turnkey at
$110.
$110,713. And then we're gonna give him a $500.
We're going to give Sean a $500.
Give Sean $500 in case the material price varies or something, and which will make the contract $111,213. And that's only if
If it's needed.
You get all that, David?
Yeah.
I'll second that motion. All in favor? Aye.
If you get me those documents, then I can prepare the contract.
We'll say Rockin' H.
yeah.
Rockin' H.
Normally, what I'd want is his bid. I'd want a copy of the specs that you sent out for bid, and then make sure his contact information is included.
The next is the Blue Mound project. This is the compactor site. We've purchased the materials. My understanding is the materials are on hand waiting for us to use them. And I have two bids. Rockin' H is one of them. Odd Jobs Heroes the other.
Where's the material that was in the house over
I have
there?
no idea.
We had a bunch in that house.
We had a bunch of
Jackie
sheetrock,
moved
didn't we?
it somewhere. I don't know.
Where did that go to? Does anybody know?
You know where the sheetrock is?
I do not know where that was moved out to.
Rick and
prior.
somebody's got it now.
Somebody's got to know where it was moved or stored.
I don't know if is sitting in the old attorney's office.
No.
I thought there were some two befores and different things in it. Was it just sheetrock?
Some sheetrock, some
They're buying it.
stud lumber and
Yeah.
some other stuff. I helped moved it in, but I did not help move it out.
Okay.
I know we talked at one time, we were going to go ahead and allow them to move in, and the stuff was still in the garage. We said, well, it's in the garage, it not in their way, keeping them from moving in. Did we even ever go pick it up?
I'm sure we did.
Oh, yeah.
We did.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah, it was
I
cool.
remember Jackie saying they moved it, but I don't remember where they moved it to.
So your people, those two should know something.
I will find out where it
Somebody
went.
from the road crew, because somebody had to move it. Jackie didn't move it.
I will find that out.
What's the amount what's the contract over here? Got two of them?
These are labor costs for the roof, siding.
There's a big difference.
Uh,
No.
My recommendation is to use one contractor for both projects. Obviously, there's a difference in price, but for the management of both those projects and the work that we're doing, just knowing that we're roofing, re-siding, and what we want out of that building, I would recommend that you use the same contractor on both.
Do they both have the same specs as far as what they're supposed to do, or?
Is that how you put
I
it?
provided both of them with the same ones, yes.
He's detailed his out. He just put two things on his, labor and disposal price.
I'm in favor of that one for sure.
I mean, he's detailed and he's not. You know what? Did you talk to this guy more?
I talked to both of them when I showed them the projects. And I showed both projects to both contractors.
And he didn't even want that one up there?
I never received a bid on that one up there.
You don't know.
Okay. I got you. I know where you're at. What's your thoughts?
Huge difference. I don't know, you don't know.
I don't know this company. You want to give it to the same person?
From the management aspect, it would be easier to work with one contractor through both projects. It would take me
And
less
you're not in
time.
favor of this other
Yeah, I
contractor?
won't vote. Yeah, I'll.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's make a motion here then.
You're gonna need to read both.
I am, yeah, I know you do. So there's two contracts out there. One is, how you say his name, Souza?
Souza.
Benjamin Sousa, doing business as Odd Jobs Hero. His bid for the specs that was given by Sean was to do the labor cost at $1,200 and the building disposal material at $25 for a total of $1,225. The other contractor is H. Rockin Construction, which we just approved for the late scene. He's detailed his out, and it cost for completion is $3,100. So there's a difference there. And the recommendation is you're going to make a motion to,
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we hire Rock and H Construction to complete that compactor site in Blue Mound at $3,100.
what's your thoughts?
I think it's quite a bit of difference. Like I said, I don't know the difference between the two
You wanna-
contractors.
We can talk about this. I'll second it. You got to answer to the paper on that one. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. You got an aye?
No.
No.
Next items, I spoke to you, I think, about Mike in the north shop needing a gooseneck to haul culverts around. Currently, they're having to hook up a spindle hitch large trailer to a 5-ton to get culverts moved around. This is the same.
It's a 5-ton. All right, good to go.
Well, it's the same thing that Harry does. It allows the foreman to
No, I know.
drop these culverts and prep the sites for the guys to come around and do the project, but he's able to drop those in place. I got 3 different prices, and the one that I'm recommending is a local with Neil Manufacturing. We're looking at $9,635 through Neil Manufacturing. The other 2 that I contacted and got prices from were higher than that, or in one case, no trailers available. And even if we were able to approve this, the expected delivery date for this is not until February 22.
Even on the Neil trailer?
Yes. Yes, and if we went, they gave us 2 options. If we went with the other option, it would be even further out into May.
What about a used one? We're just pulling it for,
We're using the foreman,
can we, have you looked into buying any used ones?
I mean, yeah,
used trailers. I did, but was unable to find anything that matched the specs of this. We're talking about
what was the one at Neil and then where else?
I'd contacted Neil, Big Tex, and Truck and Trailer and Hitch Center.
Did you
Okay, well, what about the one that really builds a ton of thousands of trailers up there and can't by Grandview? or B and, I'll give you the name.
Well,
There's a ton of them. Are you, do we?
that's the Grandview. I believe the one you're talking is the
We
Grandview,
can probably find
that,
pipe trailer where you put pipe on it. You know, I don't know. Are you just looking for a regular, just,
Is it 20-foot culverts? Is that what they're putting on?
20-foot gooseneck with 7,000-pound axles and a 5-foot dovetail is what we're looking at.
That's probably what, because they're going to use
Use it for
besides
something else.
everything else.
The
Well,
main,
there's a couple up there along Belton and Grandview that build lots of trailers if we're looking for a new one, but we should be able to find a good used gooseneck trailer online.
okay.
I mean, and the reason I say that, because if you're buying equipment, you know, if you're buying tractors and all that stuff, you really got to have somebody that knows a lot about that stuff to go out and look at it and the mechanics and all that. And we've done that before. But a trailer, I mean, other than the wheel bearings, I mean, in the bed, long as somebody hasn't, you know, parked a dozer on it that's got 3,000-pound axles, then you're all right usually. But I would look at that. I would consider that. I'd look at Purple Wave, look at Big Iron, all those companies that.
I'm not familiar with Big Iron. I did look at Purple Wave and was
Yeah,
able
but you
to,
had a rep out of Pleasanton that worked for Big Iron. It's just another company, Ritchie Brothers, and then all the rest of the farm sales and everything else. I mean, you probably would just give you an authorized amount and let you go with it if you find a trailer that's good, you know.
I'll go back and look at more of the
I'm just
used.
saying that's something we don't have to necessarily buy new.
well, I'm looking up, they make the pipe utility trailers, which, I mean, that's all you'd be able to use it for. But a brand new one, or a 2020 is, $5,500 brand new, which I don't know what the lead time on one is, but you wouldn't be able to use it for anything but it just, it's just flat. It's not as wide, but you just put pipes on it. That's all it's
How often
for.
do we use the trailer anyway?
That's what I was gonna say, yeah.
Can we use it 1 week here and 1 week at the other place, or is it something we use?
I don't think they would be able to, it would be efficient to use them in both places, given the number of culverts and projects they're doing. But I'll look at those other options. Like I said, I'm unfamiliar with some of the companies, but I'll get to look at those other options. The airport roadway project should start this week. I've had a request from transfer station to look at 2 and 3 yard compactors. The issue there is that we are compacting roughly 5 tons when we should be compacting 10 tons, and we're doing 30 tons a week in the compactor that we've got there. We've had to have it looked at and serviced. It's the most used site
We're at,
at the transfer station.
uh,
So we're doing 5 tons each time that we switch out the hoppers. We should be doing twice that. And we're doing 30 tons a week in it. We've had it serviced. It's not, compared to the other sites, an older unit, but it is the most used unit that we have in the county. I do have pricing for new 3 yard compactors from 3 different companies as well.
Why are we going down in size? I mean, am I understanding?
No, that I looked at 2 and 3 yard compactors, is what Al had recommended. We
What do
look.
you have now? 1 yard?
I believe we have the 2 yard, but Al had recommended, because again, this is the most used site that we have, that we look at the 2 and 3 yard options. I would recommend the 3 yard option, again, because of the hours and the use that we
is
put
it
it.
in the budget to buy next year?
We would have to go with the transfer station has a special equipment fund.
It's part of the equipment reserve fund, but there's money in there for solid waste.
So
What's the one in Prescott? Because all that stuff's brand new and they're only open, a couple days a week?
Which one? The one in Prescott or the one?
It would be beneficial to, you're talking about the ones that hook onto the smasher thing or whatever, right?
Yes. It's basically the hopper with a compactor at the head of it. And
They dump
at
it on
the,
floor and push it in with the,
at the other sites, people dump it into the compactor, they smash it into the unit. At the transfer station, the unit's been set outside, the concrete's raised, so you're actually dropping it on the floor because you're above the unit, shoving it into the unit and then compacting it.
And the one we have is not good or what?
We're only getting 5,000 pounds, or I'm sorry, 5 ton per cycle when we should be able to compact
and what was the
10,000
for that?
or 10 tons. I'm sorry.
That's because of the inefficiency of the machine.
The unit, the use of the unit, we've had it serviced a couple times, but the unit itself gets the highest volume of use of any other unit in the county. It's not the oldest unit, but it has the largest volume.
We've talked about it over the years.
Why is it not compacting it? I mean,
We've had it looked at and serviced, but the unit, the expectancy as far as the unit itself it's going to
Is
wear
there a
out.
setup that's just goofy that doesn't help us do that? I mean, we were dumping it out on the floor and we're pushing it in with a skid loader a lot of times.
Mhm.
Is it the way is it our setup that makes it inefficient? That makes the machinery inefficient?
No.
We've got it set up?
No, this is just the issue here is how much that head unit can shove into that hopper and how many times that ram is going to push in and out. It's electric and hydraulic unit. I mean, it's only going to push so much, and now we're down to half of its efficiency. So we're getting 5 ton instead of 10 ton in a hopper.
Failure of the hydraulics, or is it is the tracks it runs on not working right? Are they
My understanding is that the unit itself has just been used to the point that it's become inefficient.
So if we switch it out with, like, say, Prescott that isn't open or used as much as the main one, would it be, I mean, we'd just be kicking ourselves in the ass if we just tried to move that, switch them out, because we'd be in the same issue, technically.
I think you would wear that unit out just as rapidly as we've worn this one out.
you'll wear the new one out there too. I mean,
Eventually, yes.
but if that one's pretty new is what he's saying.
So you're just wanting to go to the next step up, bigger one.
Correct, a 3 yard.
I think Jack, let me look at my email real quick. I think I sent in a quote for some of the not the smasher deal, but the containers. When Jackie and I had talked about this, let me go ahead and go and I'll just try to find it. But they sent me pricing on.
The units we're looking at.
There are pictures of them?
Yes.
Ah.
Their specs,
So I got through school.
three different beds, and the different.
So which ones are they want?
I'm sorry.
These are all different, right? Different machines.
Well, that's the promo advertising. What they picked was the 2 and 3 yard.
Which one's
That's
that?
just,
Show me.
that's the 200 there. That's the 300. So
2 and 3 ton.
on this, and then
What's that?
there's three different companies, 3 different sets of bids with 3 different sets of specs and units form. I think the only other thing that I could do on this, if you wanted to push this out the next week to get more information on it and those other sites, I can bring Al in to discuss it if we need to, because it is a sizable purchase.
Used to have a quote on those dumpsters.
Take a look at that. You got anything else while we're going over stuff?
The contract for the recycle trailers that you heard about last week.
Yeah.
I've got the contract. Gary's looked at it. He advised me that it was pretty standard.
Yeah, it's a standard grant of this type. It is a matching grant, which I didn't know if you were clear that the grant will pay 25,000 and you'd be paying.
$8,333.33.
Yeah.
And that's matching both from what I read, in kind or cash.
Right. So,
So it takes 50,000 for the three? Is that?
no, the total is, well, they're granting you 25,000 and then, the amount of your match brings it up to 33,000. So the total project is 33,000.
For three trailers, I guess, is that for each school?
Yes.
That's for all three. That's right.
Yes.
But it isn't 80-some hundred for each trailer, it's just 80-some hundred one time, 8,300.
Right. Your match is just a total of 8,300
Okay.
or whatever it was. Yeah. 83.33.
Didn't Pleasanton or one of them already build one?
I'm sorry.
Didn't they already build one? Didn't their shop programs build a recycling trailer?
We have a recycling trailer at Pleasanton that was used as a pilot project for this grant process. And they do have it in place. This would, at that site and that site only, replace that unit, to my understanding, and leave it for either another program or school, or the ability to swap those two units out and rotate. But yes, they did have a used trailer that they've already set up and used it for the pilot program there. And the only thing I need on the contract is your approval to have me sign it.
So what are you going to do?
I'm still behind on looking at these containers.
And as I said, to get more accurate information and.
Are you looking for an answer right now?
No, I can, like I said, based on your questions, I would recommend we bring Al in next week and answer in detail, because it is a sizable purchase and you probably need as much detail as possible before making the decision.
Okay. And then, do you have anything you want Al to have ready for you, either one of you? So when you come in the question, maybe he can address.
What would it take to switch, like, go from the Prescott, switch those two out versus, and then the new one?
Will in other words, will the one at Prescott work over there? So have him just ready to address that.
I will.
I would like to hear.
And nobody said we're shutting Prescott's down.
Can't make that clear. They, and I'd like to hear his thoughts. And I know we've asked and we've talked about. We have how many trucks going down there every day? Is it 2? We make 4 trips total, right? There and back.
I cannot answer that.
It's a lot, and I know that we had kind of spoke about if there was a better way, more efficient way, because we're taking. I mean, the compactors don't weigh that much. you know, and I had mentioned maybe we design something where we put, dump it all out and we push it all into one big semi-trailer or something. And I think that idea just kind of fell down, but I'd like to discuss and figure out if there's a more,
A walking floor trailer type deal is what I've heard as far as shoving it into a walking floor.
Yeah, just,
I will ask
that's a
him.
long-term question probably, because I mean, the labor cost alone, if you're gonna do something like that, well, might not be beneficial.
But the inefficiency of this machine is part of the reason you're making so many trips. You understand that?
Yeah.
Is that when they should be hauling 10 ton, they're only hauling 5 ton. And so that means twice.
They don't
the trip.
take all of these around here, don't they take them direct down there and they don't go to?
Yeah, they don't, they go directly
The
to,
ones at Mound City.
I think it's-
they don't,
two total round trips a day.
Yeah.
With 2 different guys is what I heard, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's still a lot of labor to me instead of just one truck a day.
most of them are coming out of there, but they do have to empty the ones at Lacey and.
Periodically, yes.
And they go directly to the site. The
The
dump
ones he's
site.
talking about, the trash gets delivered to Prescott,
Mm-hmm.
down to the landfill and it's filled.
I just want to know if there's a better way.
I'll bring in Al next week and prep him to be ready to answer your questions.
Yeah. See what he thinks. He may already have an idea and.
Okay. And then the contract on the recycle.
That's just what I was going to ask. Are you going to take action on the contract for that drain? Oh, you thought the drain is what you said?
The grant for the.
Oh, great.
recycle.
The grant on the recycle program, the
And we're
matching
getting
grant.
25,000 for that, and it'll cost us $8,333.
Right.
To get the 25.
Right. Total project 33,
8333.
yeah.
Are the schools throwing in anything on it, or what? I totally missed us paying attention to this container deal. Sorry.
Of course not.
I cannot answer that.
No. But yeah, that too.
This is just for the schools to recycle, right? Each school.
We'll provide the equipment and then I think they will actually manage the recycling, don't they?
This also provides for training in the school from, the program is going to go into the school, train the kids on recycling. And I know Pleasanton went a step further and got a separate grant to put recycle containers in the school itself and then get the carts or whatever to haul out to the recycle trailer from inside the school. So it's just, this is our part of that larger project and training and scope in the school for a recycle program for 3 schools.
Gotcha.
I remember when we had talked about it. We talked about the schools, maybe, because we didn't want to. Jackie wanted to buy 2 or 3 trailers, and we weren't too in favor of it, really. I mean, we want recycling, but we talked about the school building them to use them to do that.
As a project you came up.
Yeah, instead we're having a grant come in and build it instead. I thought that's why we built the trailer to begin with. Like Pleasanton built one. Then we're going to talk about having Lacine build one.
The Pleasanton one wasn't built, my understanding, it was an old trailer that was purchased that they rehabbed.
Okay.
Right. Because Jackie wanted to buy some brand new ones and we weren't too in favor of it. And we just said, maybe we talk to the schools and see if we can't get their program to learn the recycling and build the trailers. Because I think Pleasant was wanting to really step up their recycling, which I'm all in favor of. But now we're back to this grant deal where we have to pay $8,000, you said? I don't know.
What's your thoughts on it?
We get the 3 trailers. We get 3 new, are they new trailers or?
Yes. And I believe part of the matching will be from the design repainting or,
So they're
We're
just
paying
teaching and
for
giving us a
kids to do
trailer
that,
for
then.
30-something thousand?
I'm sorry?
They're just teaching us and then giving us a trailer for the 30,000 and we have to pay 8? Is that what you said? That's counting.
Our matching is
It's 8,000.
a little over 8,000, yes.
We're kind. In other words, if we do some work in the process, that could be a part of our match.
What did we get for those trailers that we got around there? Does anybody know? What ones we got?
I thought it was like 5,900 for one.
Something like that. I don't remember. No.
I
They're nice trailers over there.
I think we could find used ones, have the shops in each school revamp them, and then,
And not spend 8,000 even?
yeah, I mean, I think, and then I mean, is it gonna take an entire, like, 3-day class to learn how to recycle or what? I mean, throwing the bottles in what are they teaching you? I don't know,
But you have an opportunity to get 3 new trailers.
I get that, but I don't know, I guess I was confused. I thought we were.
If we spent near,
do it.
I'm just trying to regurgitate what you were saying. If we spent 5 on a used one,
No,
or,
that was a brand new one that Jackie wanted, and he wanted 3 more, and I was against it. And I don't know if Jim and Rick was, but I was. And I wanted the school to go in and make their own, have their class make one. We kind of get an old trailer or whatever, or somebody, I don't know how that would work, but. And then we teach them recycling, and then we go pick the trailer up. They leave it at their schools, right? Is what they wanted. Is that what the trailers before?
the trailers, yes, would be stationed at the schools themselves.
Recycling, and then we take them and we instead of dumping everything on the ground, we have them in the boxes and we dump them in where they need to go and we go on.
The trailers, from my understanding, the ones that we're looking at are geared towards what the schools actually, they have a larger section in it for cardboard from the kitchens and things, because the trailers we're using aren't really designed for the mass of what they get.
So the recycling trailer that sits at the lake in Lacing, how often is that thing dumped?
I cannot answer that. I do not know.
Or the one in Pleasant?
I'm sure that it gets dumped more frequently this time of year than it does in January. So, just by the volume of people, but I can't answer as to
I don't know.
how often.
I guess where I'm at is I'd be in more favor of, I think there's an easier way not spend as much money. Not having the entire trailer sitting there, we more just have a core trailer, and we have the bins, and they fill them up, and then they slide them back onto the trailer. I mean, I don't know.
So your question is, do we support the grant or not, right? That's what it.
Yes, whether you want me to sign the grant or not.
You say no?
No.
Okay, and what about you?
I don't see a problem with 3 if it's only gonna cost us $8,300 for 3.
I know what you want.
No,
but realistically, will it happen?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Because it's not just the county involved, it's the school district,
No, I get
the
that.
Boag shop and all that.
I guess where I was, I really wanted the schools to get involved and build their trailer, which, in return is going to teach them about recycling. That's I guess it just kind of got way off of, I mean, I guess 8,000 is not that much for 3 brand new trailers, but I don't know.
I think their part of the project is going to be
That's,
a little less than that. It's going to be the design and the graphics and the things that are going on the outside
Has
of
the
it.
superintendents or the principals of the schools voiced their opinion? They think this is a good idea or not?
I was not on the head end of that. The only one that I've spoke to was Pleasanton, and again, they took the extra step to get the extra grant to put containers in the school.
When do you have to have a decision on it?
They had sent that to me last week, and I believe they're waiting on me to get it back. I don't know what the timeline is to get this pushed back to them.
Principals and see what they say.
Yeah, I mean, if the principals don't care, either way, I mean, I'm kind of like on both sides of the fence here. I mean, it'd be nice to see the school's FOAG department build that trailer, and the school, if they want to teach recycling, that's great. But on the other hand, will it happen, or can they make it happen, or is there too much being involved in school this year for that shop to do that? At the same time, you're passing up
how much
and will they use it, period?
are how much are the schools putting in on the grant?
Again, I don't believe there's
None.
25,000 for us.
We're broke.
I believe their part is the graphics and the paint, and I cannot answer as to how that was cut up and who was taking responsibility.
Yeah, the new trailer, 8,000 for 3 trailers sounds pretty good. So we're going to put the school graphics on it, and then we're going to maintain tires and when something breaks and all that stuff, and send it back to each school every time.
I would have to assume that we're going to maintain them.
Well, yeah, I would too, because they're part of us at that point.
But I mean, all we're doing is hooking onto them and pulling them down to
Yeah.
the hill and dumping them. And I mean, we don't make any money off recycling. I mean, do we?
That's not the purpose of recycling.
Oh, I know. I know. I get that.
You're about to get some environmentalists all over you.
That's why I'm not. That's why I'm kind of. On the
So let's just make it clear, Danny's against recycling.
Speaks out.
He's gonna sit in on the class and learn about recycling. That's good.
So where you at? You want to wait a week or?
If we can wait a week, I would like to wait a week. I would like to know if the schools are putting any more money, if the program's gonna be taken serious, if they put their graphics on it. I know it makes our guys' job easier down at the landfill, where they're not having to pick through and they can literally just dump it where it needs to go, which I know it works well. I went down there and looked at it, and I've seen how the trailers went, and and I just thought we were going to talk to the schools about building a trailer that was more efficient for our guys down there to use. So I know trying to pull those bins out from over the fender well, it'll screw the trailer up. And I know we had talked about the back, but slide them all out that way. There's just a lot of stuff that I thought we were figuring out, but I guess we're not. We're just going to rely on a grant, and we're going to spend $8,000 out of a fund and do it instead, and just kind of skip all of the learning, I guess.
So check it out for us, because Danny about the schools. And
I will inquire with the principals,
I just
the
have
other
no
principals, and find out what the other costs are involved as far as who's doing the design work and stuff.
I don't want that my decision to hold up us not getting the grant. I mean,
I don't think another week's gonna make a difference in terms of getting the grant.
the deadline.
Do you have the application that was sent in to get this grant?
No,
If we could somehow get a hold of that, that probably has a narrative that actually describes how this is supposed to work.
that would have been the lady that spoke to you, Shay, that came in and spoke about the grant being awarded. That grant was processed by her and applied for by her. So
Hey, I guess I don't know who that is.
she,
Last week or the week before.
yes, Lake Region. She's
okay.
the coordinator for them, and that grant,
We
from
might
my
ask-
understanding, was
we might-
handled and applied for through her.
We might ask them for a copy of the application so we can understand the logic behind how it's supposed to work, because I bet you in their narrative, they usually have to explain how this is going to work.
And in the schools part, would in-kind be something if they address it at the school to the students? If they devoted some time to?
Yeah, if you send an employee over there to talk to spend 5 hours training students on recycling, an hour with the sixth graders, an hour with the fifth grader, that kind of thing.
Okay,
If you could count that time as part of I would think you could.
yeah, okay.
Did we ever get any feedback from superintendents on the SO officers?
I've never heard anything.
Of course not.
Doggone it, what a surprise.
so that's why I just like to see what the schools are going to do, how it's all going to work. I would rather the younger people in school build the trailer the way that our guys down there wanted it to be built, on just an old recycled trailer. Us revamp it, do it the way that'd be easier for us, easiest for our guys to unload it all.
And are we paying for the materials?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, yeah, I guess
address it and see what it would cost to build a whatever type of trailer from the VOAG department. We'll pay for the cost. Hopefully it doesn't go up to $8,000.
It'll go over 8 for 3 of them. You're about to buy the bins and everything else.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's coming around. He's having.
No, I'm not against it, but I just thought we were totally going this a totally different way. It had more to do with just the money to me. It had to do with the kids doing something in ag class, learn how to do something, learn about recycling. And it all started because the school wanted that. Now they want us to give them that so they can do what they want.
So
And
check
we
on
can't
it.
hear back from them about this.
I will look into the details of it that I wasn't a part of, and I can't answer those questions. I will get into those details and find those out.
All right.
So,
What else you got?
see, The Pleasanton Senior Center, we put the unit in over there. Just for clarification, that was 1 out of 4 units to get them by. So what we did is I took some guys, Rick grabbed up some guys, and we cleared out one of the rooms because this unit is only going to basically run 1/3 of the building. So we moved them to the western part of that building where they have the kitchen, the bathrooms, and then a storage room. And at the end of that section of the building, they had a room approximately half or a third this size, but capable of the quantity of people they have for lunches so that everyone is in a cooled area and not in that large hall area that they were using before.
I never did get the numbers, but how many's eating there every day? On
I was
average?
told about a half a dozen.
Yeah, yeah. I know on bingo, there's like 20.
But not bingo.
No, but
throw
like,
that
on a
out.
regular day, yeah, it's 6 to 8, probably 6 to 10.
I was told a half dozen or
Nothing 1 to 2 probably.
No, really, it's 6.
the times that I've been there, I know that 2 people were absent for vacation and I saw 4 to 5 people there. So, 6 to 8 isn't a bad number.
So we're getting ready to make a
I know we
big
have
decision on
picnic
that. You
tonight.
got to consider that as well.
Republic picnic tonight at 6, but I do plan on, I've already talked to Teresa a little bit, but I want to try to make it to their city council, talk to them about getting an exact price on what they would charge us
Or not.
or not. Yeah. Or whatever we can do to try to make it work. The best solution.
Just get along.
And so we can all just know exactly what they want, what we want, and go from there. So I'm going to go there tonight if I can make it and talk to them about that.
I will make an effort to be there. I know I have some discussions as well and maybe some questions I can answer on another issue for them while I'm there. So we already talked about AMR signs. We're doing,
You get out there and trim some of those signs, those weeds around them.
we did boom mowing out in that area.
You can't
And then,
right around the sign where the.
well, the sign itself leading up to it, I went out and looked at it, not only around the sign, but the foliage was coming out. So we boom and brush hogged that area.
Actually, I got 2 comments back and they were very positive about that. So thank you guys for doing that.
I will.
Comments this week.
Hey, and I really like, I know you're not such a big fan of it, but not that you're not a fan, but doing the work orders with Joyce, I think backs up. If you see something, somebody calls in and complains, you can always just call you can always just call Harry, you can always just call Mike and tell them to do it, which I do. And I think you do too. But to actually take the time and type that up or call Joyce and have her call it, put it in as a work order helps a lot because they don't forget and they can't get out of it.
Well, and it helps us track to make sure not only do we keep track of the amount of projects we do, but it also, we can track how many we complete.
Yeah.
I got a phone call this week. It was not a good one. They want to know why the grader was sitting at the Pleasanton barn 3 days out of this week with good weather, and I couldn't answer it.
I'll have to check on what was going on those 3 days. I do know we were finishing, for 2 of those days, we were doing the Parker chip and seal project.
I thought even though we were doing that, I thought we kept somebody on the grader all the time.
I will have to check to see if that operator was a part of that. I cannot answer that. I'm not familiar enough with that process to answer that accurately.
They're happy with me on it. So that's why I'm asking.
I will develop an answer for that. And then I have 2 requests for dump fees. This is the last item I have. The first one is a request at, looks like 325 West Main Street in Parker for a dilapidated building. I believe it's a former church that was purchased by a neighbor and is requesting reduced or free dump
Should probably
fees.
look at.
Yes, and both of these Bobby's looked at all of it, has the paperwork, and has signed off on both of these.
Okay.
So if you need photos of that or would like to see the packet, again, that's 325 West Main Street. Parker.
Do they need to be separate motions?
Oh, you can do them both in one if you wanted to.
The second is 210 Third in Lacine. And this is going to be a dilapidated building, an unoccupied home that's fallen into disrepair with structural defects, overgrown yard, and unsightly appearance, with a support letter from the city as well. And that, again, was 210
What, so
Third.
why are they wanting us to, it's a personal residence, why are they wanting us to reduce the fees? Sorry.
I don't know him, but that's who.
Believe both of these properties, I know that one was purchased by a neighbor, and their intention was to not only clean up the area, but to clean that property for future use. This one, the city and the mayor are supporting the reduction of dump fees and removals for the home located at 210 South Third. Upon completion, the owner shall fill and excavate. They're just talking about the improvement of the area itself. They give no reasoning as to why they're supporting the
What our
owner of
policy
that
says
property.
is it's got to be endorsed by the city. So if we've got, does the Parker one have an endorsement from the city?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, if the city says this is something that will improve our city and we ask you to reduce these fees for this individual, then our policy says we will typically do that. If they've met the other requirements. We're not providing containers. We only do that if it's a city-funded project.
Okay.
But on these projects that are privately funded, we do reduce fees if they meet all the other requirements and the city has endorsed it.
Okay.
Typically, what we're doing is saving the city from having to go in and condemn the place later and clean it up themselves. That's what we're really doing.
Oh, you guys look at, I'm gonna.
It's been endorsed with each city then, right?
So full dump fees, though, we were requiring that they condemn the place.
Not necessarily. To just eliminate the dump fees. Nothing in the policy requires that. That's whether you reduce or eliminate on a private citizen thing is typically just at the discretion of the commissioners.
That's the only thing you got left?
That's all I've got left.
Okay, we can do that with Danny's outside. That's all right. So we just need approval on the,
If you're gonna do both
Sure.
of them, you need to approve both of them by address. And
oh, where's the thing at? Where's Bobby's part?
Thing down there at the bottom.
Right here?
Yes, so.
Make a motion that we reduce the dumping fees on the property at 325 West Main Street in Parker, Kansas. And that's my motion.
I'll second.
Been moved and second. All in favor? Aye. The second one is same thing. Reduced CD dump fees. It's already been looked at by our codes guy. At 210 Street, 210 and 3rd Street, Lacine. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Aye.
For my clarification, the reduction is going to be
To zero?
half, zero.
I mean, the last several you've done, you just eliminated.
Yeah, we just, so
And as he's asking, was your reduction to zero or was your reduction something other than that?
we should address that in
It should have been in the
the
motion.
motion.
Yeah.
Well, I need to amend it.
Probably have a motion to amend the motion by adding the amount of reduction.
To zero. That's my motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. There you go.
That's it, unless you have any questions for me.
Now we gave you enough.
I know, I got one more.
Oh, yeah, you do.
I've had two people contact me about and ask if we've made a decision on a mechanic, and they said they've turned their application in. Have we did the interviews with them?
That comes this week.
Oh, this week?
From my understanding, I know at least I have one on my agenda this week. I can't answer how many there are. I know I have at least one.
They were excited, so.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. We need to recess this and then go into our hearing, right?
You don't need to recess to go into
Yeah,
the hearing.
okay.
You can just convene the hearing.
We'll convene the hearing for the CBDG closeout.
I'm Carrie Spoon with the Regional Planning Commission, here to close out your CDBG CV. This was the coronavirus relief grant, was awarded about this time last year. And in total, your grant assisted 19 businesses, retained 59 jobs. 56% of those were low to moderate income. So your total LMI was 95%. The minimum required for the grant was 51. So you
Okay,
guys,
so we did okay.
you did very well, yes.
Good job.
And so really, it's just asking if the public has any comments to make. And then I do have several forms here for you to sign.
Oh, bless you. All right, the public's here, the paper's here. Anybody got any comments or questions on our hearing on the CDBG grant? Okay. So what kind of, I need an authorization to sign?
Yeah, I think maybe just a motion to authorize the chairman to sign.
Is it just
the
one
doc-
person signing?
The grantee's release form requires your signature as well as David's signature and seal. And then there are 2 certificates of completion that require your signature.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
authorize the chairman to sign the documents closing out the grant.
That's my motion.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Okay, while you're standing there, while we're doing that, can you, I mean, unless you got anything else, can you explain to our county kind of like what you guys are, what you do, and
We assist with the community development block grants, so economic development, infrastructure, commercial rehab. If we're working with you, with the county, it has to be outside of Mound City or any of your other cities. So we could work with your townships through you to apply on behalf of them. We also are taking on some administration of the ARPA funds. And I think maybe I was here to answer some questions on that for you guys as well. We also have someone in our office now who can assist with JAG grants and some other,
What about historical? What's it called?
preservation, historic preservation, like tax credits, stuff like that?
we don't really do the tax credits. We can work with, CDBG has historic preservation, and we can partner with the State Historic Preservation Office. They have some small grants, and together, sometimes those are enough to help with a project.
So what they really do is help us find grants of that type, of the generally federal grants, aren't they mostly?
Mostly, yes.
They help, they write the grant proposal, and then they manage the spending of that money for a share of the a percentage of the cost. That's how they get paid.
Yeah, normally 10%. There's no fee for submitting the application.
Yeah. Is there any way we could get you to get us a little information on like a preservation grant for our courthouse here? Or, you know, or anything that can help us rehab our courthouse through the National Historic Society, state, whoever?
Sure.
I mean, if you could, please.
What are the types of things that are needing to be done at the courthouse?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it doesn't depend on what kind of grant we get, right? Because I mean,
Well, depending on your work, depends on what type of grant we would be looking at.
Probably needs, the exterior needs
yeah, the roof
preservation,
roof,
the brick and the tuck pointing and so forth need preservation. The roof probably needs work. The heating system needs,
I know that it's under the National Registry, and state, I think, both. So I know that there's a lot of stuff that we can.
it may need assistance in terms of handicap access. There may be needs in terms of wiring and that sort of thing. So here we're talking some significant.
Just a complete rehab.
And it might be that you have to do parts and pieces through different types of funding sources.
Yeah.
Community development block grants, they do have some specifically that are for ADA compliance. For most any of these, you will have the expense of you're going to need to work with an engineer prior to application to get what we call a preliminary engineering report that explains the need for some of these things and the plan on how to address them.
So like the grant stuff I ran through feds or whatever, but do you know if there's like a private contractor that comes in and controls like what we do to the building? Do we have to pay for that too? Do you know? Because you got your GC and then you'll have like your preservation company come in and like oversee everything, make sure you're doing it per the state.
For any of these, yes. Usually, at least for CDBG, you have to award to the lowest responsible bidder, so you don't get to cherry pick who your general contractor is. But it's going to be, and then your engineer is going to make sure that, check the references and everything like that. And then the engineering firm is going to oversee the construction because construction inspection is something that's required for that.
Underneath the engineering then. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely.
Appreciate that. That's good info. Glad you showed up today. I think David's making copies of what he signed or stamped or whatever. Do you have anything else for us? We will, but I'm gonna.
I need.
There's more.
So for
I don't know
this,
why the state wants 2 copies of it, even though it doesn't look
so for
Oh, we gotta do 2?
of that particular page. Yes.
for all of this stuff, is there any more or anything else that's gonna be coming like this that we can take advantage of?
It is my understanding that there will be, you guys were awarded round 1. They have since had 2 other additional, and it's my understanding not all communities expended all of their funds, so there will be what they're referring to as a CB4.
Did we?
I have not heard of when those applications are going to be opened or anything like that.
So should we be
I
planning,
just signed the 1 page, right?
or the next rounds are for the people that didn't finish it? Is that what you're saying?
No, they are changing the requirements a little bit. This is just my understanding from a conversation. I haven't seen anything official yet, but it will be for those who expended all of their funds. The funds would be available this time around to businesses who had already received funds. That would be something different than
You have a
what they
card?
had to date. Yes, I sure do.
I get emails from you. I don't know who it is all the time.
I like cards.
But I know the state in September is deadline for some grants. I'm not sure that they're going to open up this CB.
But you let Jessica know anytime there's something that we can take advantage of, or she. Awesome.
Does she bother you a lot?
Extremely helpful I mean, she did a lot of work in getting the businesses to fill out their applications and get all of those details to us so that we could get the funds to the business.
Well, we'll close the hearing, and thank you very much for everything you're doing for us.
While Carrie is here, we've talked about the American Rescue Plan Act funding.
Yes.
For broadband and a water project. They are managing those grants for counties like Vinnie and CDBG, so I asked her to talk about that.
Sure. Yeah, would you?
Sure.
I'm sure peoples will be excited about it.
For counties, there is a deadline of a report due the end of this month. It is for funds that were used by the end of July. So if you guys haven't used any of your ARPA funds through the end of July, that report will be really easy to take care of. That is another question. Not all of the counties we have talked with have actually submitted the application to receive the funds. As of last week, there was not a deadline yet for those applications to have been submitted. I don't know if that will change.
What's the ARPA? What is that?
American Rescue Plan Act.
Okay, so what's it provide for us?
You can use the funds. It's similar to the CARES Act funding.
I get y'all wound up today.
As far as, the uses really need to be somehow COVID related. You can use them for water, sewer, broadband.
This is one that could be used.
No.
Spark is open.
I know, does she have anything to do with it? Could we ask her that?
This is one that could be used for broadband, she said.
There you go.
That's something you guys
We
really.
have not made any applications, or I have not made any. Justin's been talking about broadband.
I started the application process. It wanted my social security number and a lot of personal documentation. I wasn't sure about the certain stuff and secretary, and
So where are we at on that?
we've not submitted it yet.
So have you gotten over that, or you need?
I'm getting there.
All right.
Yeah, it was, for any of the entities, I think that we will be doing the reporting for, I have to put in my social security number and provide a copy of my card and all of that kind of stuff. So, it wants a lot of very personal information. And that's the portal that the reports will be.
Do we have any idea what we would qualify for broadband? If we were to get it?
And whatever if you are needing to bring in a broadband company, if they're needing to set up their distribution lines, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
You could
distribution,
use
right.
the funds for that type of.
And I only talked to one. I guess we have a couple different ones possibilities, but the one that's brought it up to the public and the need for it, realized that over on the south side of our county or west side of our county, they thought $175,000 is what they needed. Is that too far-fetched for something like that?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
But,
Who's it, are we,
Parker and
how are we involved in it though when we get this grant? As far as
we get the money and we distribute it.
We get the money and then we do contracts with them to take that money and do the job.
Yeah.
we're not involved with any,
We're not the owners of the lines,
we're
so.
just distributing the money to them.
Right.
and there's regulations and stuff that go with that money, and it's very similar to what we do with grants. And if you chose to contract us for the administration of that, we would make sure that all of those steps, all of those forms, that documentation is followed.
Oh, great.
You definitely want them to manage.
Yeah. It's not something Gary wants to do.
You can't afford it.
All right.
Is there any way, I'm reading on this qualifications, and I think about healthcare facility. And it says in here, the enhancement of healthcare capacity for the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that there's money available through this act to use to support that?
I believe so. I haven't dug into those details as much, but my preliminary understanding is yes. It would just depend on, I'm not sure that building a new facility, something like that would be eligible, but supporting staff that you currently have or maybe adding some more staff to help deal with the impact.
So maybe you should talk to her and email her. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's it. Details. Is there a deadline on this?
There is not, other than this report that is due the end of August for whatever was spent as of the end of July. And then there is one more report that would be due the end of October, and then it's due annually the end of October for the next 6 years.
Don't they already have the right of way out there to put the cable?
Yeah.
So we just be giving them incentive to do it, right?
Right, we'd be underwriting it, so to speak. We'd be giving them some funds because there's a long distance between a lot of their clients out there and they can't.
75,000 won't go very up.
But if they felt like, if that's the difference, tips the scale,
They're not done.
yeah. I mean, we wouldn't be paying for the whole project. We would just be giving them some incentive to do the project, really.
Okay. Give me back.
And I do, the Treasury has released something, their expenditure categories that might be beneficial to you as you kind of talk about what potential projects you might want to spend these funds on. They of course have not released the report for it yet, but we anticipate it will look very similar to these expenditure categories.
Hey, you might want to look at this.
We'll hold this as collateral.
There you go. We told you.
We'll tell you how to do it if you give us a building permit.
Yeah.
And I did bring, just because there is a report due at the end of August, I did bring a admin contract with me for your consideration. I can leave that with you if you would like.
Sure. So are we going forth on this? Okay.
And same contract, 2 copies, just that way if you guys decide to move forward, you have the original to keep with your records.
David, can you keep that so I don't lose it?
And our proposal is 5% of the total
Sure.
would be receiving paid out annually over the next 5 years.
Okay.
You would need these soon if you're going to do a report.
No, she won't be doing a report for the end of August because that's for any money we've already got.
The report still has to be done, even if it says zeros all the way across it. The report is still due.
Oh.
But our board won't meet again until the first Thursday in September. So, sometime between now and then, if you guys should choose to move forward with us, our board could sign it then on that first Thursday, and
Okay.
and we would still be
Awesome.
for you guys if that's what you want.
Okay.
Beyond the county, do you work can like for-profit companies come to you and get assistance and grants and stuff like that?
They can. Most of the grants we have are not for-profit businesses. The only exception to that would be the CDBG commercial rehab and the economic development.
So that'll all go through the county, our county, and then she'd go to you. Is that how that works?
That's how it would work. Unless they're located, say, in Mound City, then they would have to work with the city council with us to submit that
And
application.
I don't remember if I asked Jessica this, but was there a revitalization for a restaurant, a separate fund for that or grant for that?
Not that our office worked with. There's been so much
Was
money
it for
out
federal or something? Okay.
Yeah, there's been so much money out there.
I know.
And that's one of the problems, or one of the headaches that might be with some of this funding is if it would be given to businesses and households, we would have to then make sure that we're not duplicating, we're not giving them money for expenses they've already been reimbursed by a different program that's out there.
Okay. Is there any more questions? So we can, Carrie, go? You got anything? David? Thanks so
If you need
much.
Anything, just shoot me an email or give me a call and I'll do my best to.
Sounds good. Thank you. Jessica, you got something? You don't want to say nothing today? Okay. You're Rick, right? Come on up here.
You can close it, you're scheduled for right now.
We do? I'm sorry. We got it. We have to do this by a little,
Do you have to close that or anything?
no, we already did.
Already did.
We got to do a budget hearing that, go ahead. Oh.
So, budget law requires us to have a hearing to give the public an opportunity to speak on the proposed budgets. I published a notice in the paper, week before last, so it meets our 10-day notice for publication time. So the first thing would be, you need to see if there is any public comment on our proposed budget.
There's only a couple. The paper, are you? Okay. This is a budget hearing, so the budget was published now, so there is none. So now what?
Okay, so if there's no other comment, then I need you to close the budget hearing.
I'll close the budget hearing.
And at this point, I would ask for approval of the Linn County and special districts budgets as published, unless there are other comments or questions from the commission.
Do you have anything here? Did you bring anything
I've
over?
got a full copy of the budget and some extra of the signature page.
Okay.
Can you give a brief description of what we did?
Yeah. Can I see that one? I'll give it back. I won't even write on it.
So this was after all the budget requests came in from all the departments and we went back through and made changes. It got us to a reduction on the county levy from, let me find it here, excuse me. Okay, the rural fire and county levies. Rural fire would be 2.145 mils, which is exactly the revenue neutral rate for fire. And that is a reduction from 2.203 mils in the previous budget. The county funds, the revenue neutral rate was 48.197. This would be a proposed levy of 47.742. So it is under the revenue neutral rate, and it is a reduction of roughly 2.1 mils from last year's levy of 49.843.
And only the ones, I know this is just the county, but we had some that falls into the budget, like the fair, and they lowered their budget, right?
Yes.
They lowered their mill levy for next year. Congratulate them for working hard to do that. And is there any other big reductions or any other reductions that, other than in our offices that's attached?
For the tax funds or?
Whatever you can think of or want to say.
Okay, so the tax funds, I mean, we've gone through all those and we've added and we've.
Sure, not us, yeah.
The only real big change we had in other funds would be on the way our construction fund was budgeted. And that is, I got a new listing from River City of when the payments should be going out. So next year's capital improvement or construction account, the budget authority is $5.46 million. For this year, I'm showing we're going to spend $12 million, but that's just the percentage of the projects that should be done and paid for this year. So it actually lets us lower our overall budget a considerable amount next year, but those were not tax levy funds. So it doesn't have any effect on the mill levy on that part. I don't know, without going into detail.
No, that's fine.
Fund,
Okay. So revenue neutral, if they could, if any outside, like the libraries or the schools or the cemeteries, they have to have a separate hearing for that, right?
Yeah, they do it with their budget hearing, but they have to ask for comments on the revenue neutral rate if they're gonna go over and on the budget.
Okay.
And we do have roughly 10 taxing entities in the county that are going over their revenue neutral. All 3 schools, several of the cities, and a couple of library districts
Okay.
going over, but their budget hearings will not even be held until after the 20th of August.
But they still have to meet at a deadline?
They have between August 20th and September 20th to have their hearing, and then until October 1st to get their budgets into me. I've asked all them to please get them in as soon as possible because I'm running into deadlines. I'm getting tax statements ready after October 1st.
Gotcha.
But everyone who's not going over the rate, the 15th was technically the deadline to have a hearing, but that fell on Sunday. So today's the 16th, the next working day. They should be all wrapping up their hearings by today if they're not going over revenue.
Okay. And so what do you need from us today?
I just need, if you're prepared to go ahead then with what we published, motion to approve the Linn County and Special Districts budgets as published.
Any discussion? That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Good job. Everybody that worked hard on that budget.
I need some signatures on these. So you guys would sign this one that's all put together. And then just to give me a couple more original copies to work with, if you could sign some of them.
Well, just her name on this.
Yeah, just anywhere there on governing body. Commission sign.
Yeah. How long you need? 5 minutes. Okay.
I guess comment to go along with all this on budget now. The proposed mill levies are in the budget that was published. Those could change slightly when we set final levies in October due to changes in valuation from the time we sent this out to this. But that's a normal every year occurrence that vary a couple of hundredths one way or the other, but rarely enough to make a big difference in anyone's taxes.
So in short, we made taxes go down.
Yes, we did.
Hear that?
We decreased taxes.
Part of them.
We decreased county taxes. Yeah.
School and everything.
Everybody else went up, but
Yeah, we got no control over what other entities do, but the county.
Rick? I appreciate you. We're going to have to take just a short recess. If you can stay, we want you to. And I can talk to you about it during recess too. Barb, there was a question I had that medical reported their numbers to us about how people can get shots and they can go out to their houses if they need to. Can that be reported in the paper? I don't know if you do or don't do it. If you would, because there may be some elderly people that are sick people that maybe want.
They were doing that, so just to mention that.
Yeah.
I made a note to get a.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to make a motion. We have something we got to do here. Somebody's got to do. So we're going to take a 10-minute recess. I'll make a motion. We go in recess for 10 minutes. Moved in second. All in favor? Aye.
Oh.
Basically, it's still fine. It's a federal program for anybody below 13.
At least she made it. She made it last night and didn't get in trouble.
115 late.
That happened too. It causes a hostile environment.
Okay, 10 minutes is.
All right, well, he'll be here. Mr. Rick Smith's gonna come up and talk to us a little bit about fuel storage and stuff. You had called me, and I agreed to let you come out and speak a little bit about what you do. So go ahead.
Okay, well, my name is Rick Smith. I'm with Midwest Training Consulting Services. We're out of Olathe, but we basically travel at least this state. In fact, I work in about 30 states. Quite a few of them doing the spill prevention plans that are basically required as federal law, started in 1973, and requires everyone that has 1,320 gallons of oil. The oil term is very loosely. It's basically petroleum distillates in any kind of form. Fuel, fluids, lubricants, new, used, synthetic. And I say petroleum, but it also actually counts for vegetable oil and mineral oil. And so, I mean, when they say oil, it's a really loose term. But 1,320 gallons is the magic number of requiring a spill prevention plan. In 2010, they broke that down into two different levels, under 10,000 gallons, over 10,000 gallons. The over 10,000 gallons requires a licensed engineer to sign the document. So for what we found is, I mean, we've worked for about 37 counties now, and most, if not all, are over 10,000 gallons from just fuel. And
So did you just pick us out randomly? How did you get our information that you wanted to talk?
well, though Steve Spencer is my sales guy. He's basically got a list of all the counties and he's calling them all. He's got his own little goal of trying to get 50 by the end of the year. We already do 37, so he's calling everyone that we don't do work with.
Okay, fair enough.
To see if, they're there. The state of Kansas actually publishes who has some tanks. Not every tank that's registered is on their database. So that kind of helps him have an idea of, not really wasting his time too much. But again, I haven't found any counties that I've talked to or did work for that had under 1,320 gallons of oil. It's just.
That's the oil sitting in a tanks somewhere, or?
It's 55
amount of
gallon drums or greater.
Okay.
In different locations or just any?
Per site. So if you've got one location with 1,320.
What if we have no location with 1,320, but altogether we have 6 locations and there's over 1,320 gallons total? Is there a gray area that we can use?
Oh, you want to split it all up? Well, that'd make it kind of hard when you have 8,000 gallon tanks.
Okay.
But it's 1,320 per site.
Per address, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So we've been helping quite a few people over the years. I've done over 1,100 spill prevention plans, 37 counties. That's just, we focus on anybody with fuel.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty much, we figure if you've got over 1,300 gallons of fuel, then we don't even have to count drums to figure out if you're qualified.
Right.
So we do the spill prevention plan. We have a licensed engineer that works with us. We're basically agents to this person. And they sign the document. And we are also steel tank inspectors, certified steel tank inspectors. So we do the steel tank inspections as just part of the spill prevention plan.
Okay.
You could hire us to do it separately, but we don't charge any extra for doing the steel tank inspections. So, And I don't know, our information looks like you have 3 different locations.
Okay. Yeah, that's
But I don't
probably
know
right.
I don't know about your solid waste, your hazardous waste. I don't know what's actually accumulated there. But we did see that you have 2 shops with, like I said, 8,000 gallon tanks.
So your services provide that, you'll come out, is that what you do? You come out and survey it and then write up a spill prevention plan? That's what you're selling, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We come out, we do the survey, we gather all the information, take pictures, that kind of a thing, prepare the plan, give it to our professional engineer. He signs and certifies the documents. And again, if it's under 10,000, it seemed to me like you had an airport with maybe a 4,000 or 5,000 gallon tank.
Mm-hmm.
That would be under 10,000, would not require a licensed engineer to sign.
Okay.
Requires to be developed, just like the EPA wants, and they have their formats. But the additional cost of having a licensed engineer sign it would not be included.
Okay.
What are the consequences of not having such a spill protection plan?
Well, I've looked at the EPA's inspections, and generally, if you have absolutely nothing, you're looking at about a $5,000 fine if there's no spills or any releases or,
Right.
you're just, you go, oh, I didn't know any better, and you do it. You fix it within 30 days, the fine's around $5,000.
What's your services going to cost?
$2,100 for one with a required license, professional engineer, and $900 for one that does not require.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. Well, when we're done, can you give him Wes's number and talk to him more about whether we already have some type of a plan? I don't know that we do or don't. I just don't know. And then we'll figure out what's your thoughts on it.
Check into it.
Check into it for you and see what we want to do. Now, have you got any local counties right now participating or signed up with you?
Well,
Urban, Miami.
We've done Miami.
Cali? You've done Miami, of course.
Yes,
They're big.
Actually, quite a few times. They're required to be updated every 5 years. And I think Miami County was actually one of my first counties that I have did. Jefferson County and Miami County, because I'd really never made any contact with counties. Most of my work initially was gas stations, truck companies.
Right.
Like that. And we didn't even talk to cities or counties initially.
Okay.
But let's see, I know we did one for Anderson. We've done a lot of cities too. We haven't done Bourbon County, but we've done 3 for Fort Scott.
Okay.
So we just did one for Osawatomie Power Plant. We do power plants. Basically, like I said, we start off with, do you have fuel? And then we want to talk to you.
We obviously want to be in compliance if we need to be, and I don't know where we're at, if we have an old one or expired one or anything like that, but I'll have you go see Sean.
Okay.
And this is one of Bobby works with him. Sean happens to be across the street right now.
Okay.
And if you have time, visit with him a little bit today. And if not, just take his number down and yeah. Sounds like something we probably need to look at. If maybe we already have it, maybe we don't. I really don't know, Rick, but
Okay.
I appreciate you coming down and talking about it, and
Sure. Any
glad
other
you did.
questions?
Do you have any questions?
It's not that complicated of a program. It's mostly about secondary containment, doing your monthly inspections, doing your annual training, and there's like 7 pages of requirements that are all spelled out.
What about getting rid of an old tank, decommissioning it, you want to cut it up, you want to get rid of it, it's no good,
Well,
disposing of it?
not be counted, the EPA requires 3 things. 1, it's got to be empty. 2, it's got to be blanked off on all things putting in or out, minus the ventilation. You don't do anything with ventilation. But if you've got a fill or a pipe that comes out that releases it, those have to be blanked off, locked out, and then the tank has to be labeled not in service. Those 3 things, the EPA will ignore it. You don't have to cut it up to get rid of it or anything. I mean, you can do that,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll walk right by a tank that has those three conditions.
Okay. Okay. You got any questions, anybody?
Okay.
Thanks very much. I'm sorry you had to wait a little extra,
No,
but
that's okay. That's okay.
appreciate it.
I appreciate you letting me.
Bobby,
talk to
can you help him? Take him over there and give him the number if Sean's not there. Maybe Sean's across the street, so he may be able to make it back over. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. You got anything?
Nothing else for the meeting. I think I emailed all of you the other day about KAC meeting coming up in October. I didn't know if you were wanting me to.
And that's up in Overland Park, right? I'll attend, but I'll just drive back and forth.
Yeah, but I actually registering for the conference. You want me to go ahead and
Register me.
Jim, do you know?
Yeah, go ahead and register me. I'll let you know as far as if I stay or not.
That Worlds of Fun. You want a Worlds of Fun afterwards?
I do know the hotel that's being held is full.
The convention center? Yeah.
But there's lots of.
Yeah, there's lots of nice hotels there for you.
Okay.
Hotel 6 rooms.
I know Sean told me the other day he wanted to go to it, and I plan on going. Kathy Fraser is going to go, but I think what she said, she just makes her own reservation.
Yeah.
She's going.
And they have quite a few appraisers there before.
Yeah.
Now, what about the registered deeds? I know they have their own organization, but do they attend that?
Some of them
Probably
don't
not.
have big attendance.
Okay.
The treasurers usually don't because
Right.
they have their own. Usually a lot of clerks there. It's a lot of clerks meeting the last day.
Okay.
I think like Counselors Association usually has a meeting the last day. But there'll be a lot.
I'll send Gary to that. He'll figure out a way to bill me.
So at some point, we'll be getting notice from KAC, one from K-Camp, one from K-Work to send in for our voting delegates for all of those meetings that.
Are you running it again this year, or
I'm not this year.
you're not up this year?
But K-Camp and K-Work will have their annual meetings, I guess the first evening of the conference, so we'll need voting delegates for those. And then for KAC, it's.
What, there's several awards that are given out to employees there.
Sometimes they do like the.
Did Mapping get something, and what's her name that was in there before? She got an award.
Yeah, there've been some at times.
Can we find out anything about that awards thing? How do you do that? Is it too late?
I guess it's probably late for this year, but I really don't know a lot about the awards.
You want one?
No. No, but we do have employees that would, we could give them if we had them. I was gonna nominate you for president.
No, I really don't want to.
Well, I was only half-heartedly going to suggest that. All right.
And then we've got the SEK meeting coming up in September.
Where's that at? You told me. Iola. And I told you I'd go to that. Yeah. Okay.
So I'll try to remember. I think I've got it set on my calendar to pop up and remind me, so I'll remind you guys.
And that's a one-day thing, right?
Yes.
We don't have to register to go to it and just, yeah.
I sent them just numbers on that.
They want it for lunch probably mostly. Yeah.
There's no fee or anything with that.
Same type of deal. We went to Yates Center just here. Yeah. I went to it.
Okay. So is there anything left on that budget hearing? Everything's done.
I'm just waiting on the rest of the other committees to turn their stuff into me, and then in October, I'll set levies and get that.
When do we remind that we want the reviews in?
We need to get that.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything we need to do that form?
Probably are. I don't know if we have time to really go through it this year before we get there or not. It might be a good project to look at before the next year.
Jesse is requesting an executive session for trade secrets. Says he has some new information in terms of numbers and things in his project. It's up to you, it's your choice, but, that's, these are a 15-minute executive session.
And then you see that it is a trade secret issue?
It involves the profits and losses and things in his planned project.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think it fits that category.
You need a motion?
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion that we go in with Jesse Willard for 15 minutes on trade secrets in executive session.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. We knew we couldn't stay out here.
Do you need me for anything?
Oh. No. Thanks. Hey.
I mean, I'll still be here.
I think we're done. So we'll wait. Look at that, your vice president's on. There's no action.
Anything else, gentlemen?
I don't have anything at all. No. Thank you. Have a great week. If you call me, I know there's a problem. Is Sean and Morgan coming over or anything? We're good? Good. We're waiting on our third commissioner to come back. He's in a conversation right now. What new and exciting things are in the paper this week, Barb? You don't know. You write for the paper. You can't tell me. Is it a secret? I got to buy it?
The Living Page will have an article about an upcoming event that Mary Jo Laser is hosting in her garden.
Okay.
A lot of fair stuff.
This week or next week, we'll be running new teachers.
All right.
Have all the fair stuff in this week's,
Pardon?
all the fair,
Going,
yeah, but will you put the
here it's just a few photos this week.
results and things, or do you guys put that
And
in?
we'll have results with more photos. Post there.
Awesome.
I drove by Saturday, the rodeo was going on, it looked like there was a crowd down there.
I didn't even go down there this year.
Did you go to the rodeo?
I did not go to the rodeo, Jackie covered the
Had a
rodeo.
big crowd, I think.
Looked like it.
I heard they did.
They have a really neat event over there honoring our fair queens from.
Yeah, I had them on.
Have that to be this week.
Okay. That's good. See, you had something to add.
Full list.
We was running out of material, man, so I'm glad you're back. All right. All right. I think we may be close to done, if not done. You got anything? David, you got anything? Danny? I don't either. I'll make a motion, we adjourn. Move to second, all in favor? Aye.
What are you shaking your head about? You got a good story coming this week?
No, she don't like good stories.
I know. Just put, Danny was in a bad mood.